Hey guys, Captain Wing here, and welcome back to the Plants vs Zombies tier list series. So, yes, the first one that I did of these got so many views that it's almost the most watched video I've ever done. Oh, what am I doing here? Which is absolutely amazing. This is incredible. So, I've decided that, well, because you guys have apparently enjoyed the first one, your wish is my command, and so the second one that I promised is here. So today I'm going to be doing my favourite characters in the game. Last time I did the best, what I thought were the best in terms of performance. This time I'm doing my favourites in this order. So this has not really got any impact on anyone besides myself. It didn't really reflect my thoughts as far as I'm aware. But if anyone actually does agree, let me know down below in the comments. And let me know what you agree with and what you disagree with. I have the feeling that some of these will be people will also appreciate things like the, I don't know, All-Star for getting buffed, I suppose. The snipers, if you're a sniper guy. Super Brain, definitely, because he's absolutely broken. Oh, sorry guys. If I sound a bit rough today, it's because I'm coming down with a cold, but I didn't want to leave you guys in the dark without a video. I wanted to get this out here for people to enjoy, so here it is. One thing you'll also notice is that the tier list that I'm doing this time actually has the acorn and oak separated into two pieces. So you've got the acorn itself and then the oak. For some reason Space Cadet doesn't do that, and neither does Imp. But we have to just group those together. But acorn and oak are separate for this video. Which means that, yeah, there are 21 characters there. That's right. Okay, so without further ado, well, if you enjoy this video, be sure to hit that like button and watch my other tier list. I'm going to try and do some more because it just seems like these are really popular right now. It just for everyone that does them. So without further ado, let's get into today's video. So I've split this into pretty much the same tiers as last time. We've got the godly tier, which is all of the best ones, all of my ultimate favourites that I would play time and time again. Good ones are sort of the ones that I do still play quite a lot. Average, sort of more when the mood hits me, really. They're not really the sort that I'll play a lot. Bad, don't often play these unless I've got like challenges for them. And don't play enough instead of literal trash this time, because I thought it was a little more appropriate. I've barely played Rose or Electric Slide. Those are the only two, but I've barely played them yet. And I just haven't managed to get myself round to them. And so as such, I'm not going to put them up in my list. There's no point in me putting them in bad when I don't actually know what they're like. I mean, in my opinion, they don't appear like they're going to be great characters, but I've not played them yet, so I can't say. So it's really, there's 4 sections. So we've got godly, good, average, and bad, and we're going to talk about each one in a little bit of detail. So, the Chomper. Now the Chomper, I've never enjoyed in any of in Garden Warfare 2, in Garden Warfare 1. I haven't enjoyed him. I don't really enjoy him now. I think he's a cool addition. In fact, I've never really made much use of him across the Plants vs Zombies franchise. I think that he's a great. I think he's an eccentric little addition to the universe, but I just don't like him. I mean, I never used to like close range characters, but I managed to get into Super Brains because of his beam in Garden Warfare 2. And then they nerfed it, so he wasn't really useful. But by that point, I already really enjoyed him. Chomper, and I know they've modified him a bit. They've given him a bit of better abilities. They've given him a ranged attack, but I don't enjoy using him at all. I think I've used him a little bit before. I don't mind using him in AI against AIs. I'll use pretty much any of these characters against AIs. Because it's fine then, it's easy enough. But, unfortunately, when it comes to sort of the most part, I won't really use him. Acorn! Can we just establish it now that he has only got 75 health, and he can't kill a thing. He just doesn't have the sap trap can kill something. His main attack weapon has a lot of trouble doing it. Now he's small, and he's hard to hit, so that's okay. But personally, I wouldn't use him. I don't enjoy him because he just doesn't have the firepower to suit my needs. If I use Acorn, it's because I'm either riding on an oak or I am the oak. Foot Soldier. Everyone who played Garden Warfare 2 remembers the glory days of the Foot Soldier, when he was actually a good character. Now, I know he's been buffed, and he's better, and I cannot fault his abilities. His ZPG is absolutely wonderful. I mean, he's not even a bad character. It's just that I don't like him anymore for what... Oh, what am I doing here? I don't know what I'm doing this morning. I just don't like him as a character. I still don't think he's got enough attack strength. I think it's probably because of my Garden Warfare 2. That I want him to sort of match that strength, and he's not going to. So unfortunately, I can't really say he's a favourite of mine. 80s Action Hero. Now this is an interesting one, because I started off really, really enjoying him. But I sort of, after I played a few more characters, I realised that actually I don't think he's that strong. I think, again, it's another of the Foot Soldier ones. His abilities carry him around. I mean, his Rocket Ride and his Can't Missile are absolutely brilliant. I mean, his Dynamite Dodge is pretty good as well. But I find that, I mean, if you don't hard charge up your shot, it's an absolutely horrific shot. I think you do 2 damage for each shot, for each arrow that actually hits from his bow blaster. I mean, it launches out like 5, but they're a spread, and it's just not worth it. If you charge it up to full, it takes a couple of seconds, but it does do a fair bit of damage. It's just that charge up time that means he's got quite a lot lower a DPS than any other character, so I'm not really fond of him personally. Moving up to the average tier. These are sort of okay. The mood might hit me to play as them, and then I'll be alright then. But other than that, I don't often use them. Sunflower. Really haven't used this one very much, but I've used her enough to make a comparison to the others here. I think other people have said this before, but her primary needs a buff, because it's very hard to get a kill with it. Although, her heal beam is the same as Garden Warfare 2, which is good, and I like her Sundrop ability to launch out Sundrops. I think that's a really nice addition, and personally I prefer that to the heal flower. So, I don't mind her. She's just, her fire rate, her attack really lowers her for me. Because I find that unlike the Scientist, she is only a healer. Whereas the Scientist, which is the next one we're going to talk about, he's a healer, but he's also an attacker. It's just that he's less efficient at healing, I think. And he can heal himself. They're quite similar, really. It's just that healers never really were my greatest thing, and the Scientist's primary I don't like anymore, because it's a lot more spread out than it used to be, and while it can be more accurate, I don't know what happened to the days of 50, 60, 70 damage as a chemist or a physicist. We need variants. PopCat, please bring them back. So that's why he's in average. The Z-Mech, Imp and Z-Mech. I don't know what it is with this character. I think personally, I don't think he's quite as good in terms of his abilities anymore, Imp, which lowers it for me, because most of the time you're in the Imp. You're the Imp and not the Z-Mech. The Z-Mech is... Actually, I think he's a lot more fragile now as well. I'm sure he takes more damage. I think in Garden Warfare 2, now stop me if I'm wrong, but I think he used to have extra armour, which, like the Mech Gargantua, reduced damage that he took. I don't think he's got that anymore, and to be honest, I think his abilities are a bit worse. His primary weapon overheats quicker, in my opinion. I'm not judging this by stats, I'm judging this by eye, so I may be wrong. But as a result, I mean, I find his Z-Mech, if you launch that into a group of plants, I can't seem to kill them anymore. You're so big a target and you don't have that extra armour, so they just take you out straight away. And while you can then just keep fighting when you get launched out again, which I think is something that should probably be patched, because I think it makes him a bit too good with the Z-Mech. I think, like Garden Warfare 2, you should be able to kill the Imp in the Z-Mech, because then there's a point to use Explosive Escape, because if you don't now, doesn't really do much purpose as far as I'm aware. But anyway, that's why he is only average for me, and not if this was God tier, which it probably would have been if this was Garden Warfare 2. So, Engineer. Ah, yes, I play so many Engineers. I use him so much. I played him all the way through Garden Warfare and Garden Warfare 2. No, I'll just say I didn't often touch the Engineer for Garden Warfare 1 and 2. Unless I was building teleporters, I didn't touch him. Or I was using Roadie Z to just really get on people's nerves. But, I mean, he's actually okay. I like his engineered turret. I really like his turret, and I really like his bullhorn swarm. I swear I struggle to pronounce that every time. Bullhorn swarm. There we go. I do like his primary though. It's just overall I enjoy his stats. It's just that I don't play him very much, so there's not really much I can do other than put him in the average tier, to be honest. Space Cadet. Now Space Station would be in the good tier, but Space Cadet only gets average. I like her abilities. I can't fault those, but she just, I don't know. I mean, it seems like when it comes to Space Cadet, a lot of people just use the Space Station, which kind of lowers the value of Space Cadet. But I don't find myself playing her very much. If there are other Space Cadets involved, I'm quite happy to jump onto a space station and help out. But that's all really. I mean, the space station itself, I don't think is great on your own. It's definitely not like the Oak, where you've got a lot of weapons at your disposal. You've got your main weapon, which is pretty similar to the Space Cadet's main weapon, and you've got your Crater Maker. Now, Crater Maker is a god weapon, but that's it, and then it has to recharge. So she's only really in the in that tier there. Average. Moving on to the good tier, these are the sort of characters that I use quite often, and in a lot of these cases, I do indeed use them often. I really enjoy using these characters, and I think they're really good. They're really good additions to the game, or returns to the game. So you've got the Cactus and Captain Deadbeard, because it's funny because I never really used to snipe in Garden Warfare 1. I did a little bit with some cactuses in Garden Warfare 2, Power Cactus, Jade Cactus. That was about it. I think I used like Future Cactus a couple of times, but that was it. And I didn't really enjoy it much. It was quite hard to snipe in Garden Warfare 2. Now that in Battle for Neighbourville they've introduced sort of more generic sniper elements, where you properly scope in and you're talking a couple of shots to kill, which I really like because that is reminiscent of proper sniping. Which makes it a lot more, which makes the characters a lot more effective, and I really enjoy using snipers now. The only thing that, I wouldn't put them in the god tier because they're not sort of all-purpose. You couldn't use you could use Deadbeard up close, but I only tend to use him up close for a barrel blast, and if that doesn't work, I sort of find that that's it. You're dead. Cactus can sort of, she could drop potato, which makes her a good character. But in the end, I don't feel I can put them in the godly tier, because they're not actually gods to me in terms of my favourites. There are better. Citron I've really enjoyed recently. I thought that he started off Garden Warfare 2, when he came in, he was a great character, he was really powerful, and then throughout Garden Warfare 2, they just they nerfed him, and then they nerfed him, and then they nerfed him, and they just destroyed the Citron class. To the point where he was basically unplayable again. I mean, look at the Electric Citron from Garden Warfare 2. He was unbelievably broken for power. Absolute god. I remember using him on a Hero Showcase one week when I didn't have him, and I did so much. I used that character for the solid week, and I absolutely loved how powerful he was. And then I didn't really notice he'd been worsened over time, and like a year later, when I finally got the Electric with the Citron, he was one of my last characters to get. And I was really pumped. I thought, oh god, this is great, I've got him. And then I played as him for a bit, and I was really confused as to why I wasn't achieving much. I realised when I've had a look around that they just destroyed him. I mean, come on, PopCap, you didn't need to, fair enough, he needed a nerf, but you didn't need to pummel him into the ground. He's basically Cosmic Brains now, you can't get a kill with him. So, unfortunately, that ended that one. But in Battle for Neighbourville, Citron is very good. I mean, his peel shield there's no way you're getting through that. I mean, you see one of those go out an objective, and you may as well you get yourself sat down because you're going to be here for a long time. I also like his abilities. They're alright, but they're not the best, but to be fair, it's mainly the peel shield and his defensive capabilities. That mean, you get low on health, you can peel shield yourself up, heal back to full, and you're sorted. Or if you want to revive, peel shield, revive them, and you're sorted. If you want to wait for some recharges on your abilities, get out the peel shield! It's just all purpose, and it's a really, really, really good take on the Citron. I think they've brought some life back into him. And I know he's not got very much to attack, but that's because PopCap meant for that. He's meant to be a tank. He's meant to be able to push the objectives and stay alive. So to balance that out, he has to have less attack. Of course, that's saying nothing of the juiced ability upgrade, which I think is the last upgrade for the Citron. And I've heard a lot of good things about him. Now, my Citron, I think, is only a specialist, so I still need to get Super Elite and then Master. But he's getting there, and I can't wait to try that out. Nightcap. Now, pre-October patch, you would have been in the God tier without a doubt, and I think everyone would have had you in the God tier. Now, you're a lot worse. Since the patch, I've played as her a bit, and to be fair, she's not an awful lot worse. But I find myself, but that little difference I find makes me not want to use her as much. And sort of people have learned how to counter Nightcap a bit more now as well. So, I don't know, it's a bit of a... I'm not really sure that I want to use her as much. But at the same time, she's still a really good character, and so I can't really give her anything less than the good tier. Corn. Pre-October patch, you would have been in the... you would have had a special section for literally unplayable. And you would have gone with... well, no, you wouldn't have had your own class. The Foot Soldier would have been in there with you. You got one hell of a fire rate buff. Playing as him quite a bit, I've really enjoyed him in Ops mode, and I mean, his butter beacon, I've sort of got the hang of using that instead of having the butter strike that we used to have in Garden Warfare 2. Now, that's took a bit of getting used to, but I actually like the butter beacon, because it really helps to find those hiding zombies, and it helps your team out to find them and shoot them, and just to shoot them, if they're sort of camping it out. His other two abilities, his Shook Shot and his Husk Heart, are pretty much they are the same abilities from Garden Warfare 2 with a couple of tweaks. Still good though. His fire rate is absolutely mental. You can burn through a full stack of ammo, reload in about a second, and then keep firing. So you basically have infinite ammo. It's basically Garden Warfare 2 All-Star with no overheat. So it's just that, well, I mean, I say that, but he has not really got much attack. I think he hits for 4 damage. But you couple that with the fact that you're launching 1,000,000 shots a second, and you've got it. It's a good character. Now, it's what you've been waiting for. We've worked through we've told you the ones that I don't play enough. We've gone through the bad ones, the average ones, and the good ones that I play often. It's time to face the godly tier. These are the characters that are the absolute best. I use them all the time. Love using these characters, and I just think they're amazing. So we have got the Pea Shooter. Because I've always enjoyed Pea Shooters. First character I ever played when I started in Garden Warfare. Not the first one I played in Garden Warfare 2, but that was because I wanted to try out the new characters. However, it was the Battle for Neighbourville. First character I played was the Pea Shooter. Now I know, before you say anything, I know it starts you as a Pea Shooter when you load the game up the first time, but you can change character very easily. And I was overjoyed to find that the Pea Shooter is the starter, because I absolutely love using the Pea Shooter. I think he's so much better in this game with an aimbot. I mean, I suppose it's cheating because you're not really doing it yourself. But I think aimbot and the homing upgrade are absolutely unstoppable. His splash damage is amazing. Pea Gatling is as good as ever. Chili Bean is as good as ever. Pea Super is an unusual one. I'm not sure I'd rather have the Hyper. But because of the sprinting, I think that's why they changed it to Pea Supered. But I really enjoy him. He's an absolute god of a character. 4 levels of Master, and I can't wait to see what his final upgrades are. So, yeah. Snapdragon, I absolutely love this character. My favourite of the new characters in the entire game, in fact. He's just amazing to play as. Absolutely love him. I love the area damage he can do. He can sort of destroy everything in an area. You walk into a graveyard, an objective, and you just torch the entire lot. Whether or not you get the kills, you know you're dealing a substantial amount of damage. Now, some of you may hate me for the fact that my first port of call with the Snapdragon is quite often to launch off all 3 of my abilities and then jump into combat. Yeah, I mean, Blue Blazes is one you can use straight away because you can aimbot a target and then just destroy them. The blaze, and then you charge onto the objective with your swooping slam and deal a bit of damage. Follow up with your, I don't know what the trail ability is. The one that launches out a line of fire, though. Then you stand in a line of fire and you blast everything around you. And that works really well. In terms of primary, his attack isn't the best, but it's the fact that he can do so much over time, and he sort of makes it really hard to counter. So I really enjoy him. And of course, 175 health is pretty darn good. All-Star? Well, he got a massive buff. I mean, he was the primary culprit for the buffing for the patch of for the October patch. He got one hell of a fire power buff. I think it's 7 damage at a range now. You can increase that by 1 or 2 points up close. His imp pun has a bit more life to it, so it lasts a bit longer, allowing you to catapult it into the plants, have a couple of seconds for it to get into its target location, and then you blow them up. And that's saying nothing of the fact that his dummy shield is absolutely amazing and is one hell of a good blocker when you put an engineer turret inside it. Because this guy fires, if you thought Khorne fired quickly, All-Star with an engineer turret is just insane. He fires quicker than Khorne. And he's like Khorne but with more damage. So I'm really enjoying this character. Super Brains. Well, I think this is the one that will be at the top of everyone's list, because he's just the most powerful character in the game at the minute. He can charge up his ranged attack, his Flying Fist, and he can one-shot a Nightcap or an Acorn. He can almost one-shot a Cactus or a Sunflower and leave them on very low health. He's really, really, really powerful. His punches are insane. His Super Ultra Ball is insane. Even his Turbo Twister is now actually a powerful ability, which it got destroyed in Garden Warfare 2. It went from absolute god to absolute garbage, back up to absolute god in Battle for Neighbourville. Okay, maybe I wouldn't put it in absolute god. If you saw the pre-patch Turbo Twister from Garden Warfare 2, you could pretty much kill a plant at full health. The only thing that had survived getting sucked into the Turbo Twister was a Citron, and he'd basically be dead anyway. After that, I mean, you'd only have to look at him and he'd fall down. So that was amazing. But I mean, his abilities were also good, and it's sort of a flying leap thing is really good as well, because you can get around those pesky Citron shields, which I really, really like, being able to get around. And finally, Oak. Oak himself, not the Acorn, the Oak. In a straight fight, there's no doubt that an Oak would beat a space station, because the power is just unrivaled. He's got the Super Sap Trap, which is a portable nuclear missile. He's got Roll for Damage, which is basically a carpet bomb, and he's got the Wood Grief Special, which is literally just an automatic grenade launcher. I mean, it's just insane. He's absolutely mental. And he's got the toughness of a tank. A next generation 25th century tank, that is. He's unstoppable. The only problem is he's got a big hitbox, obviously. So if you don't have an Acorn with you, you might find yourself getting destroyed quickly. But the trade-off is that you can take a hell of a lot of the enemy team with you. So I love this guy. He's a really good addition to the game. So I think that's going to be it for this tier list. Here it is. Let me know down in the comments whether you agree with any of what you agree with, what you disagree with. I'm going to be doing some more tier lists. I think this one, I hope, will go down as well as the first one. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.